Sup everyone, Darkscream217 here. With me is my regular sidekick, Multifire.
Hello!
And I'm going to browse through one of my questions, and this one comes from Ep100. Question 9. What is the shittiest anime ever made? Now, lately, when I was doing my anime reviews, all but one of them were actually generally positive reviews. It's mostly because I'm just sick and tired of negativity on the internet anymore that I actually dropped a few of my regular reviewers on the internet, and I just got irritated with the whole negative thing because you see, everyone was trying to be a Debbie Downer, negative Nancy, depressed Darlene, sad Susan, melancholy Mary, sorrowful Sally, morbid Molly, whipping Wilma, crying Christy, antagonistic Annie, gloomy Gloria, apathetic April, cynical Samantha, and jaundiced Janice.
Goddamn.
But, that being said, it doesn't mean that I have my own personal shit list of anime I dislike. In fact, some of my regular viewers who probably know me for a good 2 or 3 years know some anime I hate already. And Multifire himself, who's also a positive Percy, or a positive Pete, or a... Oh, you get the fucking idea. He also has some anime he doesn't like, and his list is probably going to shock you, but both of our lists are separate. We probably will talk in between our list. I'm probably going to interrupt Multifire more, just because that's what I'm talented at. And, well, let's just start with our worst anime that we've ever seen list. There's no regular number. I got 12 here, but I'm going to shoot out 3 in the beginning. Multifire's got 10 on his list. We may actually go off tangent and mention another anime we both dislike in the middle of the video. It's just another off-the-cuff vlog. And with that, let's start with my list. I am going to shoot the first 3 off in one shot because everyone knows I already hate all my fan base knows that I hate these 3 on the list. Green, the first season of Vicky Tosin, Love Hina. That's obvious. Green, I already reviewed for 20 minutes. I'll post a link in the description in case you haven't seen it. Vicky Tosin Season 1, I posted that old 3-part review in the channel. And Love Hina, I think I still have the videos up on Blip TV.
You gotta re-review it, man.
I don't want to re-review it. Fuck that show. It's so bad. Like, Green, I don't want to talk about. Vicky Tosin, again, I don't want to talk about, but Love Hina. The two main characters are terrible. Like, Gitaru is a wussy little bitch, and Naru is an aggressive, domestic abusing bitch. And they're main characters to the show, and they know how to suck the fun out of anything. Don't you agree?
Yes, I do agree. Naru is a tsundere, and I hope she dies and burns in hell, even though she's not real. I wish she was real so she could burn in hell and be stabbed by Satan daily, and just for all of eternity with hot ash I want nothing but the worst. I can't even think of a torture vile enough for the character. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, she's just a horrible character who she never really had an arc of in her character. She was always like mad at Gitaru. She would always like be a bitch to him, and it's just unbelievable. Like, Gitaru was better off with that freaking samurai chick Motoko. I'm dead fucking serious. I actually liked her in the series way more too.
Skinned alive and dipped in lemon juice.
Ow, damn!
I came up with something.
Alright, so that's the first 3 on the list. Hopefully everything else on the list will probably be something I haven't mentioned before. But your turn. What's on your least favorite anime?
The worst anime of all time, in my opinion, has to be Pilot Candidate. Like, I loved the show when I was a kid. At 13, that show blew my mind. I was like, oh, this is so awesome. This kid's going to this school to learn how to drive these mechas. This is amazing. But no, it's bad. It's so so bad. I was blown away by how bad it was. The script is awkward, the characters are unlikable, and everything is just so it's contrived and forced and just awkward. It's such a bad series.
Yeah, Pilot Candidate. The only thing I remember from those shows is from that show from watching Adult Swim when I was around the same age, actually, maybe a couple of years older. Yeah, I think I was a couple of years older because this is when Adult Swim was starting to air anime on their block. That was one of the first things they aired. The only things I remember is that the male characters were very, very Bushonen looking, wore very weird feminine clothing, and there was a girl with cat ears in it that don't get introduced until like 3, 4 episodes in, and she was like in the opening credits sequence. And isn't it CG all the mecha sequences?
Extremely bad CG, like on the level of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Oh,
show.
come
Bad
on, dude.
CG. It looks bad.
I'm sorry,
Everything
but
looks
I
bad.
actually saw a couple clips from that show, and I actually do have expectations for the new TMNT series, dude. Like, if I say just give it a chance, because I'm going to do the same thing. Yes, I agree. I'm not.
Stupid rap remix.
No, yeah, the rap remix was dumb, but I actually saw some of the cinematics. It's like Teen Titans on CG. In fact,
If
I think Beast Boy's voice actor is Michelangelo in that series.
Why can't people just go back to traditional art? The hard stuff.
Probably because they already did it with the new TMNT3 series. I really don't care about CG as long as it's decent. Here in the new TMNT show on Nickelodeon looks decent enough. I'm going to give it a chance. And trust me, it may not be top quality CG, but it's fucking better than Pilot Candidates.
I will buy the old shows of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and watch that instead.
Alright, next on my list, He Is My Master. Oh,
What is
I didn't know Gynax was capable of creating something so generic and bland, oddly enough. Everything that Gynax was made, good or bad, was always something that was wondrous and fantastical and just out there and memorable in some way, like Evangelion, Gurren Lagann, Fooly Cooly, Abenabashi, and recently Pain Stocking with Garter Belt, which I will get on DVD soon. But here's my master. Hold on, I think it's a Gynax show.
what's it even about?
It's about some otaku who's like a rich dude or whatever, but he has no parents or some shit like that. And these two girls like moving, like kind of ran away from home. I forgot what the reason was. I think it had something to do with their pet alligator, which we'll get more into later, or something else. But
Uh,
it's been like 5 years since I've seen the show, so I wouldn't know that much.
I
Um,
was hoping you were going to tell me it's like an anime version of I Dream of Jeannie. That would be awesome.
that actually would be awesome. Okay, it's done by both Gynax and Shaft, apparently, but the show is just really like the main character is such a douche. Like the two female characters like end up accidentally breaking stuff of his, and now they're like in debt to him, and then they just keep getting it more and more into debt, and they wear these questionable, well, I wouldn't say questionable, but they are kind of sexually provocative maid outfits. And God, what else? The show was, oh yeah, and for some reason the alligator was a pervert. I
What?
Yeah, I'm really getting sick of tired of this fucking of those anime where characters who aren't human or humanoid in some way being total fucking perverts. That alligator was a pervert. That one staff from Queensblade was a pervert for some reason. Make no goddamn sense. And it's forgettable most of the time. And they introduce a third character who becomes a maid, who is a total lesbian for the female lead. Are you there? Ah, shit, dude. Multifire's AFK. But anywho, you know what? We'll just take a commercial break right here.
I'm sorry, my mom couldn't get in the house.
Ah, okay. Anywho, Well, thanks to that little hiatus, I actually did do some quick skimming of the series. But where was I? Oh yeah, the third character they introduced. Her name was Anna, and she's like a lesbian for the female lead of the series. And I could not get this out of my mind, but she looked so much like Osaka from Azumanga Daioh that I just kept coughing rip off in character design. Like,
Even though there's only so many ways you can draw anime.
I know, but I want you to Google image both of those two characters and tell me they just don't look alike. Because they do. But, yeah, just, this, and like I said, most of everything else was pretty forgettable about that series, apart from what I just listed. I will mention one positive thing, though. I did like that one episode that was a complete parody of Die Hard. That was it.
Huh.
Yeah. Not not my cup of tea. He is my master. Anywho, your turn. Number 2 on the list. Something that I had
Uh,
expectations for, or we had expectations for, but stupid me didn't do enough research into it, because if I did, we would totally avoid this. R15.
R15 is about a dude who writes erotica novels, and he's apparently the most brilliant erotic novelist in the land. And he goes to a school for geniuses who do genius things, and it's completely stupid. We thought it was going to be really really funny,
And manly.
yeah, and have sort of a harem comedy, but the main character is a complete wuss in every sense of the word. The series is completely and totally girly.
The art style is totally diabetically girly, too.
It's way too over censored,
Uh, yeah, that.
and the plots were just
But
it was so bad.
I actually preferred it to be censored, to be honest with you.
And it had all sorts of sundaris, which is never fun.
As you could say, he hates the Sundaris or Sundaris or however the hell you want to pronounce
I don't
it.
know how to pronounce it either.
But yeah, R15, 3 episodes, and we gave it 3 episode rule chance that I always give shows, and it was just. I don't even remember a
Bad.
damn thing about that series anymore.
It's an ongoing joke that like we should watch more of that show, and
And then I fucking, hit him over the head with a frying pan because I don't get the joke. I'm just
it's
too pissed off.
I couldn't. It really sucks that it was made. The part that pisses me off the most about it is that it gets rid of the chance for something with the same plot to come out that's actually good, without it being called a ripoff of that shitty show.
Okay, anyway, the next on my list. You like this show a lot, but I'm sorry, I just have to greatly disagree. I do not like deers, and I've seen the entirety of that show too.
I thought it
Um,
was fun.
some of it had its good moments, but overall, I just couldn't get over this fucking pro sex slave vibe that they shoved in this fucking series. It was just so wrong, and I'm not even that much of a conservative
It
person
was
when it comes
it
to.
was by choice though. It's not like he fucking like took over her planet or something and forced her into it.
It didn't even want her to be her slave, and and she's just like, no, no, I want to be your slave. I'm like, no, 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 it's okay. Don't need to go that
It,
far. But
I'm fine with it, man. I thought it was funny. There wasn't anything that was like necessarily overtly creepy about it.
here's the thing: like some of the characters are just forgettable and weren't necessary. Like that cat girl that they keep shoving. Like they have to have a
Yeah.
scene with her in every episode. They had a few weird running gags. Like they had this like hot dude like making out with every hot woman in school. You remember that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then and then I don't know if this was the principal or just a gardener, but he looked like a fat Ned Flanders to me. He really did with that green sweater and everything. Um, but the show itself just wasn't mediocre. Wasn't terrible, but it was just a little bit on the mediocre side. Um, at first, I thought this was going to be a complete Chobits ripoff just because of how the first episode was setting up, but thankfully they actually branched out a little away from that show.
I've never seen Chobits.
But they had the same premise. Some dude finds some mysterious woman, whether it be an android or a fucking mutant dude girl with ghost arms, or an alien, bring her to her house. She's not that educated. She probably can only say one thing, which is her name. Blah blah blah. That's how Jobin started off with Cheat.
Chobits was about a humanoid computer,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, Persicom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in that series, everyone owned a Persicom, but she was like this weird, unique Persicom. I don't know much about the details because I never finished watching the manga nor the anime. But I will mention one other positive thing for Deers. This is actually my favorite part in the series. The high school teacher. I thought she was funny.
Yeah,
Oh,
she was.
the complete the sexually deviant high school teacher who would make their students read her sex novels,
Yeah,
and then
it was awesome.
every time she would make an appearance outside the school casually where the main characters are, I'm just already laughing because I know something silly is gonna happen involving her. So yeah, Deers, meh, meh. Okay, your
This
turn. And I want to hear this one.
this one's for you, Al. All right. One Piece is the worst. It's okay. All right. It's like the third worst anime ever, behind Pilot Candidate and R15. Okay, I want to say it's the worst, but it's not because Pilot and Candidate and R15 beat it. But I want to say One Piece is at least the most annoying anime ever built. I'm sorry. I don't get the people that can say Naruto or Bleach are just as bad as One Piece. I've watched all three of the shows, and One Piece is just bad. It has the most annoying character. A lot of people say he's just as annoying as Naruto. No, he's so much worse. And that stupid straw hat and his stupid ability to stretch around and shit like that. All the sub characters are bad. Nobody looks like pirates. It's like a bigger disgrace to pirates than Naruto is a disgrace to ninjas.
I don't know. Both shows to me seem very similar in a lot of ways, and even if I was a fan of One Piece, I don't know if I could stay that dedicated to the series. I think it's 500 episodes in at this point, and I think the original creator said he's only at the halfway mark with that series.
The characters are horrible, especially that deer character, that tiny deer character.
Tony,
Oh my god.
Tony Chopper.
Oh god, he was so bad and so annoying. He was basically oh god. I forget his name. What's that kid? What's that kid dog in Scooby Doo that everyone hates?
Scrappy.
Yeah, he was basically Scrappy,
Wow.
except I found him more annoying. I think Scrappy is a god compared to that character. Completely annoying voice, completely annoying presence, really lame and out of place abilities. Just everything about that show and the premise itself. I want to become king of the pirates. Becoming king of something so anarchical is just so fucking lame and unoriginal. Everything was bad. It just set me off. The female love interest was I don't know if I can call her a love interest actually, but
You mean the female lead, Nami, right?
yeah, she was horrible in every way. She had no personality, completely one-dimensional. She was basically just a bitch, and that's all she was. Like, period.
Wow. I have no comment any further than that.
I
All
don't
right.
understand how people can stand to watch that.
Um.
Might as well just take a cheese grater to your nuts.
Next series on Jesus. Next series on the list. I saw this on Adult Swim, and I actually didn't. I don't remember liking it all that much when I watched it on Adult Swim, and that was Android Kikaider. I know before anyone gets on me for this. I know the character was created by the same guy who created Kamen Rider. I know that. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't like everything he shells out. And Kikaider, the anime, I just really didn't like. I didn't like the art style. It looked so fucking outdated. Even though I think it was a recently made anime in the 2000s, it looked like it was still something that belonged in the Astro Boy era. Mostly because that creator was actually a pupil of Tezuka. Um, And as a result, you can't really. I couldn't take the show seriously. And it's a very dark and serious show about an android who has like an existence complex because he's a machine, but he has something called what was it, a conscious circuit or whatever that makes him human as well. And he's like torn between two worlds because of this. Woohoo! And and with the art style where everyone's got like cartoonishly goofy hands and really round noses and all those designs, and the professor himself had like an oversized nose, or I'm thinking about the other professor from Astro Boy, but I just could not get into the show. And it was so depressingly dark. It got fucking depressing by the time in the OVA series, the 4 episode OVA series, especially how it ends, where he just nonchalantly fucking murdered his 2 allies in cold blood. And that part just really pissed me off. I just really did not enjoy that series at all. It was just way too dark, way too broody for me. Um, and not to mention the art style just feels a little contradicting. At least with Cyborg 009, they actually pull it off a little better to some extent because I don't think it was too dark.
No, it wasn't as dark, but I am interested in that plot. I liked Kikaider just because I really liked the struggles of a robot
Yeah,
and
but
his own humanity.
I just really, I just, yeah, and never understood why he had a guitar, but whatever.
I think he did either.
Alright, next on your list, I think this was an anime that came out in 2011.
It's a recent anime. It's basically about this vampire chick who makes this pact with this little
No, no,
boy.
no, no, before that.
Oh, Skeet Dance. Sorry, I skipped one ahead. One ahead. All right. I call it Skeet Dance, but I think it's Sket Dance.
Sket Dance, Skeet Dance.
Yeah, I
Bebop,
call it Skeet
Skeet
Dance.
Bop.
Might piss a few people off. But it's not that good of a show. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was necessarily like terrible, but I'm putting it on my bad anime list because its comedy is really awkward and really stereotypical Shonen Jump, where the female's sort of a bitch and the jokes are really awkward and forced and all that. And the thing that really pisses me off about this type of stuff is the jokes always have to be really extreme, and all the characters react so intensely to their surroundings and to the events and things like that. And I know part of that is from the anime style, but it feels like some Shonen Jump stuff takes it a step further and makes the comedy even more extreme. You know what I mean?
Extreme! Yeah, I know what you mean, actually.
And it just comes off as too annoying, and that's why I really didn't enjoy Sket Dance. Everything was just too much.
Alright, next on my list, this one's a classic piece of shit right here. Mad Bull 34. I actually have a few friends who think this is so bad it's hilarious, and I don't mind watching an anime that's so bad it's hilarious. That's why you're not going to see Garzy's Wing on that list, because I actually like Garzy's Wing because of how fucking horrible it was, especially with the English dub. You get the best experience watching the English dub, and I saw that first time. I bought that DVD for like $3 fucking. Then I showed it with some friends, and we all had like, I think that was like the best time we had when it came to watching bad movies, because everything else we were watching really bad stuff like Twilight films and Southland Tales and fucking the Last Airbender, Dragon Ball Evolution, really bad stuff. But Jersey Swing, man, we were just laughing our asses off, making a bunch of running jokes. We enjoyed that show. Mad Bull 34, on the other hand, I just found that anime to be so disgusting and tasteless. I mean, I think it's. I don't think I don't think Manga Entertainment re-released the series on DVD, to my knowledge. But it is horrible. Like there's so many women that get raped in that series, for one thing. Some of it's actually blatantly shown.
Yeah.
Yeah. The main characters, the dubbing's horrible. Like Guy Zaburo, whatever, the half Japanese, half American cop, he just sounded awful. Mad Bull, supposedly a badass, but really, in actuality, he's a fucking cop that needs to be, sentenced to jail because he would like shoot fucking criminals very grotesquely in a situation that just really doesn't call for it. Um, and I actually have relatives who are part of the who are law enforcement, and a little bit of that me just got offended by that, especially that one scene where he like shoot off this robber with the hockey mask up. He just fucking shoots his head off, blows it to fucking chunks, while he was screaming in pain, even though his head was blown up and Englished up, whatever. Um, and it was just a all around just show that almost caused me to vomit. I couldn't even finish watching the first episode. But there's just so many other horrible things about that show that I don't even want to mention. I'm not even going to mention this one scene. I mentioned this scene to you, Multifire, but I'm not going to mention it here. Oh yeah, and they also like to fucking curse gratuitously, which I won't mind in series that are meant to be gratuitous schlock, but manga entertainment just usually goes too far early in its dubs by having characters swear provocatively sometimes. It's just. Ugh. Ugh. There was something.
Screw it.
There was something else I wanted to mention about that show being shit, but I can't. Oh yeah, yeah. Now I remember. My friend had an old manga entertainment video on cassette, and they would show previews of their stuff to this one song that was used in the Chun-Li versus Vega fight in the Street Fighter movie. And they actually had an advertisement for Mad Bull. And what was the highlight reel that they had to show there? That one scene where Mad Bull pulled his pants down and he tied grenades to his pubes.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I shit you not.
Oh, that's bad, dude.
That is. So yeah, I can't even enjoy that show for the humor value. That show just makes me like lose my lunch. Now
Huh.
you have a show. Now you can go into that one show that you mentioned before, but screwed up because you were meant to talk about Sket Dance.
All right, so A Dark Rabbit Has Seven Lives. It's about this vampire who makes a pact with a little boy, like, forever ago. And then we flash forward into the future where the only way she can get out of this, like, weird dimension thing is if he, like, remembers her pact with her. And I saw it a long time ago, so this might not be 100% accurate. But what ends up happening is because of this pact, he can't die, and he's like this crazy super zombie. So he gets hit by a car, and he's completely fine, and all this other shit. But the thing that really bothered me about that is the main love interest was a lolly, and I can't get past that, especially in shows like this, where like for a giant portion of the first episode there was just this like naked lolly floating around, and that's just really really gross and unnecessary. And I don't necessarily think things like that should be banned, but it's not something I want to watch.
I've never heard of this show before. When did you see this?
Um, Maybe I want to say 5 months ago, somewhere around there on
Okay.
Crunchyroll.
Okay, so sometimes it's okay, but that's why I probably won't remember it. Usually, I'm the guy who I may not see a bunch of anime, but at least have some vast knowledge of it. I mean, not to brag, but
It's
I actually dominated a trivia competition at FYE when they had some little anime mini event with some of the anime fans. I actually Windsor can totally vouch for me in this one, but I totally dominated that trivia section. Our team fucking won because of me. Not trying to brag here, but I have a vast knowledge. I do have a pretty vast knowledge of anime, but that one show you mentioned, they totally fucking eluded me.
you
I'm
know,
like,
it's really not a good show. It's just about a vampire and their human slaves, and it's kind of
dude, that sounds a
bland.
lot like that one other anime that we talked about last year. That one anime during the catalog preview, Astaroth's Toy or whatever the hell that show is. It sounds a
I,
lot like that.
I just do not remember that in the catalog at all.
You don't want to, dude. Okay. Next up, what's on my list right here? Okay. Ma Barajo. Oh boy. Oh god. Oh boy. Oh god. Oh
Best show ever.
god. Oh fuck you. Oh god. Oh boy. Oh crap, dude. Okay, I remember seeing this at my anime club, and this was the then president's favorite one of her shows. Like she was, I don't know if she was the president or the vice president, but I remember that she kind of forced the show upon us, and I fucking hated it. Um, it has everything that I hate in bad harem shows in that series. The protagonist was a whiny loser. In fact, in the opening of the second episode, he was like complaining about himself. He's like, "My grades are below average. I have very ugly. I'm not that attractive looking. Crawling in my skin." Just really, and the first off, the universe, the world that Mabaraho set in, I actually don't mind it. The fact that it's like modern everyday world, except the major difference is that we can use magic powers. It's like if me and you were like this, but I'm just like fucking summoning fire out of the palm of my hands because I can. I like that setting, but I just don't like everything else about that series, especially the characters. Okay, so this loser guy has three women interested in him. Some pink-haired girl from his childhood, I think. Some big busty blonde girl, and some samurai girl. So they hit the cliches right there. And the reason why they're interested in him, and this is actually a pretty goddamn shallow reason. This is the shallowest reason I ever heard. But the only reason why they were interested in him, or at least the two of them were, for starter, I don't care. They probably had arcs where they like him more, but I gave the show 2 episodes and I hated it. But the reason why they were interested in him in the first place is because it turns out he's part of a descendant of very powerful sorcerers that go on for centuries on. So basically, they just want his sperm.
Yep.
It's just so they can have powerful children or some stupid shit like that. And I just thought that premise was dumb. I also hated the fact that he had like this is another cliche I hate, but I don't like it when supporting male characters in that show are so jealous that they hate their friend for this. And he gets at the butt end of it at the second episode where everyone just shits on him for it. And I would have been, if it was me in that situation, I'd be like, fuck all you motherfuckers. I thought you'd be proud of me. But seriously, I just can't continue watching that show because I just thought it was so bad. Oh yeah, also, there's like this other weakness that exists in the series. Apparently, if the main character like uses his magic 7 times, he disintegrates.
Yep.
And I actually heard about the ending. My friend told me about the ending, but it was just so dumb that I forgot about it. Something about him actually getting restored back to normal, but there's like 7 versions of him, so there's like one for everybody, but the fucking pink-hair girl wouldn't have it her way or something like that. I don't know. Windsor, if you're listening to this, you know what I'm talking about. You can post a 3-paragraph long comment on how it ends down in the comment section below, because I am curious on how it ended again for some reason, but I don't want to watch the show. So yeah, Mabaraho, piece of shit.
Next on the list is something that might insult a lot of people out
As
there.
if One Piece wasn't enough?
Nope. There's going to be much more insulting in my list.
Oh, let it rip.
But the next anime on my list is Durarara, which will probably shock everyone. But it's a good modern anime, Multifire. No, it's a dark, smelly piece of shit.
Wow.
That's what it is. Okay, but seriously, I didn't like it. I didn't think it's that good. It has a dude from a big city moving in and crossing some gang called the Dollars, and it's got the Black Rider. The Black Rider was probably the most interesting character. It's a chick who rides around with a cat motorcycle helmet, and because she has no head and she's looking for it, I found her really interesting. But other than that, I didn't like the characters. Everyone felt one-dimensional, and everyone felt really unlikable. Especially one of the main female leads. I don't remember her name, but she was emotionless and going around killing people and taking them over with some strange black evil essence that she owned and mind controlling them. And it was messed up. I couldn't like the characters. and it was so dark. It was so brooding all the time. I don't normally dislike things for being brooding, but this was different. The characters were one-dimensional. It was too brooding. Didn't like it.
All right. Next on my list is the first Negima anime. Not to mistake the one that the second one that Shaft took control of ever since they made their own TV series and got a bunch of OVAs. And I think they've even made an OVA series that fans kind of sort of wanted because it followed the manga more. And I think they were in charge of the motion picture too. But the first one was done by the same studio that did Love Hina, which was Studio Zebek. When my friends tried to get me into Negima, I was a little curious and I had some free time on my hands, so I decided to check out the anime, even though my friend told me the anime just was mediocre, but I didn't listen to him at the time, so I fucking watched it. I was like, yeah, the character designs, the animation looks flat and eyesore-ish. Just the show just looked pretty. It's mostly because the animation was just so bad. In fact, the animation's so bad that there was one scene. Well, actually, the animation was so bad altogether that in the DVD releases, as well as the Western release, they actually had to redraw certain scenes to improve them. They actually had one scene where one of the main characters, not one of the main characters, but one of the members of one of the classmates, Makie, was actually drawn with 6 fingers in one scene.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how ridiculous it was. But I saw like the first 5 episodes, and I was just not that all interested. But for some reason, I still wanted to get into the series, so I checked out the manga. The manga was ungodly better. And around the same time, around that same year, around that same school semester, I found out that they were making another Negima anime. I thought it was going to be a second season, but it turns out it was a reboot. And the reboot, though it follows the main story a little far, it doesn't actually. It's even more branching off, and it's mostly more of a comedy series. It's basically Pony Pony Dash with Negima characters. I still liked it. The animation was fucking beautiful. It was the first time I've seen a Shimbo Shaft anime with that weird trippy style that he's known for. I just overall thought it was a much more entertaining series. But the first Negima anime, just if I try to go back and watch it now, the Negima fan I am now, and try to finish it. Oh, that's another thing. They also had to create their own ending, which, meh. Something to do with one of the main characters, Asuna, getting killed. And they had to go back in time. It turns out she made some sort of contract where at a certain date her soul will be stolen.
It's a shitty contract.
Yeah. But apparently her magic was like just too powerful or some shit like that. But I don't know if I can. I'm not gonna rewatch the series. I'll stick with the mangas, the other manga too, Negima Neo, the anime, everything else, but not that series. Screw it.
All right. People probably will notice a pattern with me. Everything I'm talking about, I'm very, very vaguely describing, and I'm probably getting a few things wrong, and that's only because when I dislike an anime, I remove it from my head. I'm not a trivia buff. I get rid of that shit. But the next anime on my list, I don't really remember much about, but I know the exact reason why I hated it, so I'm just going to very briefly describe why I hated this.
Oh, God.
This is also going to freak a lot of people out. I did not care for Lupin the Third. Did not care for it at all. And the main reason, because I like some of the supporting characters, and I kind of like the premise. Did not like Lupin. I thought he was an awful character. His voice was grating. I really hated his voice. I hated the attitude. I hated the way. I hated everything about him. I hated his entire presence. Like, if the anime wasn't about him, maybe the anime would have been good. But he was just a really, really shitty main character.
Wow. Oh, we're just climbing up a ladder of stuff to piss people off, and we're not even done yet with that.
It's not going to be as bad as when I tell people what number 10 is. So.
Okay. Well, anywho, I'm still gonna recommend Castle Cagliostro to you just because Lupin doesn't act completely. He doesn't act like the same character he does in the TV series. He's played by a different voice actor too. He's played by, I believe he's played by David Hayter, aka Solid Snake, and he just sounds. And you're right. I actually don't like Tony Oliver's portrayal of Lupin all that much either. If you're talking about the English dub, are you?
I was.
Okay. And I think Sonny Strait voices Lupin now in some of the Funimation licensed stuff, but I could be wrong. Sonny Strait's the voice of Krillin, by the way. Um, but yeah, okay. So you don't like Lupin because of Lupin.
Yep.
Understandable. I mean, you're on your own when the pitchforks and torches come after you, but you know, I can understand disliking a show because of the main character. It happens.
I'm pissing everyone off today.
Next show on my list, I also hate because of the main character. Zero no Tsukaima, aka the familiar Zero. Saw the first 2 episodes of it. Hate everything about that show right off the bat. It's set in a fantasy world of some kind. Again, this has been years ago, so my memory's a little, my memory's a little vague, fading out in this one. I too wish I had the same alcoholic stuff you drink to forget this stuff, but it's set in it's set in a fantasy world. It's some magic school. Oh gee, what does this remind you of?
Everything.
Yeah. I was gonna say Harry Potter, but then you also criticized something about Harry Potter being unoriginal. The main character, Louise, I think that's her name, Louise, yeah, pink-haired, lolicon-looking character, total tsundere, just like Naru, and everyone else you hate, so yeah, don't even watch this show. I can't recommend this one to you. She's apparently she's nicknamed Zero because she's like a shit magician or something like that, and she tries to summon a familiar, and she summons some human kid from our world into this world, and he treats the main character like complete shit, and by like complete shit, I mean like a slave in the 19th century. You know, she fucking beats him with a whip at one point, makes him sleep on fucking hay.
What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, he has to he has to like wash her clothes and shit.
And you thought Deers was bad.
No, this is actually worse, I would argue.
Oh wow!
Even though I've only seen 2 episodes and I've seen the entirety of Deers, I would rather rewatch Deers than watch any more episodes of this show. And this show has several seasons under its belt too.
Oh my god! How?
I don't know. It's just I just don't like it. And you know what? I do like fantasy anime, but I actually prefer some of my fantasy anime to be like Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like Wrecker Lodos War or Slayers or even Dragon Half. Oh man, I wish they made a TV series out of that.
Oh yeah.
The OVA got prematurely canceled and it was wrong. But the show is just I don't even think I finished watching the 2nd episode, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Yeah, and I heard she doesn't Deck Crash tried to tell me a little funny thing that made him laugh later on in the series, but I just remember thinking, man, she's still a bitch. Apparently, from what I've heard from another reviewer, Amy Rat 151, she really does. She has the same. I think she has the same problems as Naru does in the series. She just never develops or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, she never has like an arc where she goes from bitch to soft side.
Well,
fuck that show. Next on your list, and I can actually chime in on this one too.
Oh yeah, the next is Wagnaria, also known as Working. Now, this is a series. I think it's up to 2 seasons so far. I could be wrong.
No, you're right. 2 seasons.
And I watched part of it because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's great. If you liked waiting, you might like Working because it's about a restaurant. It's a comedy and stuff." It's nothing like Waiting. It's horrible. It's really really bad. It's about a dude who goes to work at this restaurant, and he comes off as a total pedophile
Yeah.
because he's after this really really short chick,
Who's
and
older than him?
yeah, but he's after the smaller lolicon. He's a lolicon.
Yeah, there was one scene I remember. I think it was from the second episode where there was his mother and brought a daughter with her,
Uh,
and he thought the girl looked cute, and she said it's gonna be really depressing when she gets older, or something along the lines of that.
uh,
Dad Crash tried to explain to me why he acts like that, and I may understand it, I may get it, but that doesn't mean I have to fucking like it, okay?
yeah, exactly.
It's like me, it's like, well, I don't like the Ultimate Marvel Universe. Well, you see, the Ultimate Universe, they're trying to do new things that they can't do because of I know! I don't give a shit! It's still shit! Okay.
And then there's a tsundere who beats on him
Oh,
simply
I don't think
because he is a male.
I don't think she's a tsundere. I just think she's generally afraid of guys.
So she beats on him.
Yeah, like apparently her fucking reaction is whenever she sees a dude, she gets so scared she just instantly punches him. I'm like, least favorite character in the show. Moving on.
Yeah, this show's bad.
And then there was that other character, the man.
Sandry.
Don't forget the manager.
I hardly remember the manager.
She apparently is like she's the eldest, but she's not that old. But then
Oh yeah, she's got the age problems.
yeah, and then the main character pointed out that she's actually like an older person compared to everyone, and then she got so pissed off that he didn't give him a day off of work in his schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw 2 episodes with it, 2 episodes of that show. And I just did not like it. I don't even like the opening credits.
The entire show was bad. I can't believe people like it.
I can't even relate to that situation. I never worked as in a restaurant similar to that before. You probably have, which is why you like working.
Yeah, working was hilarious.
And we're referring to the Ryan Reynolds live action Western movie, by the way.
Yeah. I was hoping it was going to be an anime working, but it wasn't.
No, it's way too lighthearted, for one thing.
So, this is a show I'm actually interested in hearing about on your next list.
You never heard of Powerpuff Girls Z?
I've seen the advertisements for it, but I've never actually learned much about it.
Okay, I tried to watch it. Not only did I try to watch it, I gave it 7 episodes.
Wow.
It's not a good show. You know how people would criticize us for adapting Japanese stuff and then trying to westernize them and all that shit?
Yeah.
Guess what? The door can swing multiple ways, and this is no exception. When the Japanese take something that we're known for, or a franchise that we have, they'll fuck it up, and they did with this show. They basically took the main 3 characters, the Powerpuff Girls, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, and they turned them into magical girls who they were originally just a bunch of superpowered they're basically younger versions of Superman in the original show.
Yeah.
But here, they're just magical girls that use weapons, and they needed a secret identity too, and all that stuff. The main characters, okay, I will admit Powerpuff Girls is a mostly lighthearted comedic show, but some of them I thought were kind of intimidating, like Mojo Jojo and him. I thought those guys were kind of, Mojo Jojo.
Him was creepy as hell.
Yeah, Mojo Jojo, when he has to be, he's actually pretty intimidating. I actually liked the Powerpuff Girls movie because of him. But here, he wasn't. Despite the fact that he looks intimidating, that he floats around on an oversized cape, and all that shit. But he's just really annoying to me. Like in the Japanese dub, he likes to say his name like Mojo Jojo 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 like at the end of his sentences. There were 7 episodes, and most of the time frequently featured him as a villain. But I think I saw some episodes with Fuzzy Lumpkins and Princess in it too.
Fuzzy Lumpkins was my favorite.
Yeah, Fuzzy Lumpkins. Apparently, they kind of kept him faithful to the source material. Like he had a property thing going on, so he would handprint everything to make sure it belongs to him. Um, I can't remember much about Princess, but I will admit the art style looks nice. The art style is very anime looking, but it does feel like a Western cartoon that Craig McCracken could make.
Yeah.
But overall, I just could not, and I do like the Powerpuff Girls cartoon. I think it's a pretty funny, pretty entertaining series. But Powerpuff Girls Z, no, and I think they brought it over to the States, and the licensing company tried to make it feel more like the Western TV show. Like Japan got renamed New Townsville. Mojo Jojo, even though I think he's played by a different actor, still talked in that weird, fast-paced reiterations of his dialogue. But it's like trying to improve a dub of Sonic X. You're really just polishing a turd. That's all you're doing. Yeah. And I know this show has some fans and it has a following. I've seen some cosplayers of the main characters, but truth be told, I may be in the minority of this one, or this could be a base breaker. But I just really did not like that show.
It doesn't sound very good. It sounds like they gutted most of what made it Power Rangers. I mean, sorry, not Power Rangers, Powerpuff Girls.
I was about to say what?
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and actually the series, the origin story of the three girls are completely different. They were just like regular, I don't know if they were junior high or middle school students or high school students, but they were just regular girls. And then Professor Utonium and his son like do something crazy, and then they shot like a bunch of Chemical X, a bunch of like no, I think it was called Chemical Z this time. That's why it's called Powerpuff Girls Z, and it just shot like a ray storm in Tokyo, and the three girls got hit with the white rays, which turned them into good guy superheroes, and everyone else, Mojo Jojo, Probably Fuzzy, Princess, they all got hit with a bunch of Z rays and a bunch of black rays, and then they turned into villains.
That's kind of lame.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been cool if it wasn't trying to be Powerpuff Girls.
Probably.
Maybe.
Alright, your turn.
Alright, the next on the list is Dragon Ball GT. And this is a show I think all Dragon Ball fans were excited for after the Buu saga. They wanted to see what happens next. And the biggest problem with this show, I feel like, is it goes backwards. It almost does backwards character development, because it's like, let's make Goku a kid again, which is a horrible decision.
I agree. Like, they're trying to capture the elements of the original Dragon Ball, from the early beginnings of Piaf all the way up until Piccolo at the tournament. But really, they could have just done that with a new character and keep Goku
They could have.
They could have done it with Pan, actually.
I would have been fine if Pan was the main character. All of the villains sucked. They were all just...
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't care how fucking intimidating you are. Once your name is Baby, just stop. Oh, but it's Baby Vegeta. Stop. You're ruining another character I like in that series. Stop it.
There was lots of weird metrosexual elements going on with those villains in that show, and all the characters. Speaking of the characters, acted completely out of character.
Got any examples? I can't remember.
Well, I think you said that you really didn't like the way Vegeta acted.
Why didn't I like the way Vegeta acted? I didn't like the fact that he was possessed by Baby. No, are you sure I wasn't talking about Trunks?
You might have been talking about Trunks. Trunks was a total wimp. That was out of character.
That pissed me off, considering that I was a fan of the future Trunks from the Cell Saga.
Like, he should have been a badass.
Dude, seriously, I remember this one scene where Android 17 was attacking him. I'm like, I don't care if this is an alternate future Trunks. That Trunks should be powerful enough to kick his sorry ass. I mean, this is the Trunks who became a Super Saiyan before he hit double digits, I believe. Ugh.
But I don't remember enough. I just remember I thought the characters acted out of character, but I can't think of any real specific examples anymore because I don't remember like anything from the show. Like I couldn't repeat one line of dialogue if I had to.
Yeah, the series in general. And they also
But
potentially ruined what could have been a cool character, Oob. You know, the reincarnation of Majin Buu. Fucked them up.
yeah, they made Vegeta evil again and
Thanks to Baby possessing him.
vengeful again and stuff like that. And I remember I didn't like the way Gohan was acting. I don't remember what. I didn't like the way I didn't like Videl in that series.
No.
They made her much more one dimensional from what I remember.
Yeah, I just. And the.
Flanderization is a good way to describe the series.
Oh man, I actually had hopes for Dragon Ball DT once it came over to the States again, licensed by Funimation, but then they fucked it up the first time they released it. Like the soundtrack itself was like 1,000 times darker in nature. It just sounded really, really effing dark, and and the opening credits theme song blows.
And the new Super
It was
Saiyan form.
it was a rap song. It was a fucking rap song. It wasn't like I actually like the opening music of Dragon Ball GT too, by the way.
And the new Super Saiyan form was really bad, from what I remember.
Super Saiyan 4,
Yeah,
where they have like red monkey hair and red
they,
eye. Well, they had red
they don't
eye
have the blonde
lines.
hair anymore or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was that Dark Dragon saga, and then the fact that they had Black Star Dragon Balls, something that was never established in existence before, but they just showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah, randomly throughout the universe.
Yeah, and Piccolo had to die because of it. Thank God it was only 60-something episodes, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could stand another 200 of that shit. I think Toriyama was responsible for the character designs for the show at least, but I don't think his name was accredited to that series. But he'll put his name on Dragon Ball Evolution, that's for sure. Yeah, when my friends and I saw that, I just wanted to slam my head to the fucking wall. When we saw Dragon Ball Evolution, this was the second time I saw it, woohoo.
So now you have your last.
I have my last, and it is Fate Stay Night, because I tried to give this show a chance, bought the first volume on DVD, saw all 4 episodes. I didn't even bother keeping it, so I traded it back to a rental store, because the show was just effing boring. It had a great premise behind it. I actually liked the idea of this little tournament arc called the Holy Grail Wars, and everyone's got like a familiar and some battle warrior that's supposed to be the spirit of some ancient badass or whatever, and they just fight it out. But the first 4 episodes just took its sweet ass time expositing everything. And the animation, the artwork was nice, the animation is nice, the opening credits sounded awesome, but it was just too slow for me to continue to continue watching it. And I actually remembered this show from high school, and I had a friend who was watching this show. He was obsessed. He was loving it. He was like, dude, there's like this one big dude. He's like Hercules and shit. And there's one girl. She's like King Arthur, but it's a girl or some. He was just so overly excited about the series, and I was like in the middle of checking Negima out. I think at one point he actually, even though he liked Negima, he told Negima to go fuck itself too at one point, which irked me. So I found out that the series was licensed by Geneon through a friend of mine, and I picked up the first volume. I watched it. I was a little meh about it, but then when I came to school that day at lunch break, and I told my friend, "Hey, I've been watching Fate Stay Night." And all of a sudden he had like this defeated, depressed look on his face as he was slowly shaking his head. No, he's like, "Nah, man. This show sucks." 2 days ago, you were jacking off to it, saying it's the best thing ever. What happened? And I would love to tell you what happened, but you want to give the show a chance since you already watched Fate Zero, and I can't spoil it to you.
I do have to make a criticism though of Fate Zero and just the characters in general. I do like the female King Arthur, but I don't like that she's King Arthur in the sense that I don't what makes her King Arthur? She just seems like generic knight personality number 37. She doesn't feel like a King Arthur, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, she needs to have it. She needs to develop an alcohol problem. Mix her five with her threes with fives.
Yeah.
Okay. God, props for anyone who may get that reference.
uh,
Uh,
but yeah, she almost felt too cold to be King Arthur in Fate's Day Zero.
she was kind of cold in personality in the first 4 episodes.
So I don't know. It might just be me. I just don't feel like she's King Arthur. I imagine King Arthur to be much more, you know, emotional, much more kind. Is what I'm trying to say.
Alright, okay, the final thing on your list. Jesus Christ. Here it comes.
I don't like Trigun.
Oh my god. I actually like that show way more than Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, I that. Where do I start? Um, the only thing I really liked about that show was the three sub characters, his two female sidekicks, and then I liked that priest sidekick. I thought all those characters were fine and
You mean,
good.
oh god, I forgot what the two insurance girls' names are. I think one of them's Millie Thompson. Got who the other one was, but you're referring to those two and Nicholas Wolfwood, right?
Yeah,
Alright.
those were great characters. And that one arc where the priest guy died was a really sad scene and a really well done scene. And there was a lot of good writing to be had in those. But the main character, Vash the Stampede, I felt was so bland. He was just Goku with a gun, pretty much. Um, he was annoying and one-dimensional, and I didn't want to follow him. I didn't care for him. I was hoping he would die eventually so we could, get rid of him and move on to someone else. And his brother, like his brother was just as one-dimensional. He was just kind of like, "I'm evil for the sake of being evil." Is the vibe I got from him. He was so lame. I didn't feel like he had any real motivation to be the way he was. He was just plain evil. And Vash was just plain good. It was disgusting. I wanted to take a shower after watching that series to wash off the smell of bad character development and bad plot devices. Really, really bad plot devices. Especially that ending. I know a lot of people say, like, man, that ending, that was fucking intense. The ending duel between the two, and it was awesome. But no, I felt it was really anticlimactic. When I saw it, I was like, really, this is just how they're gonna end it like this? This is lame. I'm not gonna give too much away. It was just bad. I wasn't impressed. I didn't like the main
I
character.
do remember that action sequence in the ending being a little shorter than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And a lot of the villains were pretty cool too. Like seriously, it's another one of those shows that if they just removed the main characters, I would have liked it.
So what are your thoughts on Johnny Young Bosch?
I think I like him, but I do think his voice is extremely bland.
Alright.
Apathetic about it.
I guess this is it. I don't have any additional comments to make. Yeah, this is it. I'm not good at concluding my videos.
You don't want to throw in Cowboy Bebop since you mentioned it.
I mentioned I didn't like the anime, but I don't think it's a terrible anime. I'm just sick of it.
It's not worthy of the list.
I'm just generally sick of that series. Rerunning it. Adult Swim needs to pull that shit off the air. I'm dead serious. They need to
All
get
right.
rid of it because they've been airing it for almost a decade now. And everyone who's in godly love with that show already owns it on DVD or download it to their computer if they're a fucking pirate. Um, so I really don't see the point keeping it on Adult Swim, especially on the Toonami lineup.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's been
really?
on Toonami a well, not Toonami, it's been on Adult Swim a long, long
It was
time.
the first anime fucking Adult Swim ever had.
They should really air something that, we're not expecting, or something from the old Toonami, something that we may remember, like, Tenchi.
We
Any
may
Tenchi.
we may cover Toonami in a future video. I want to talk about Toonami and why I hate this revival movement so far.
I
And
also want to do that video about animes we like that everyone else hates. That'd be fun.
yeah, I just have to remember some anime that I like that everyone else hates because I really don't pay attention to what other people have to say about other anime anymore.
Uh,
Because, like I said, everyone's a Debbie Downer, negative Nancy, sad Susan. You get the idea.
yeah, that's why we made this negative video.
Yeah. Hey! But don't worry, we may do an anime that we like that everyone else hates. But that's it. That's all we have to say. Well,
Yep.
that's all. That's it. Leave a comment if you wish. Darkscream217 signing out.
This is Multifire. Have fun hating